It's Bobby the Moving Worker. Okay, so today I want to talk about how I allow fear to cause me to end my moving company and literally just pretty much shut my moving company down, and the uh, the consequences that I had to suffer because of that. Now, you know, a few years before I even started my moving company, I worked with a moving company, and I did that for probably about several months. And then after that, I walked away from that. And fast forward a few years down the road, I ended up working for ended up working for a garbage company, and I went from driving being a part of a garbage truck to actually start driving the recyclables truck. And that year was one of the most brutal summers in history, right? There were record numbers of heat waves, and it was just really harsh that summer. And to make matters worse, the recycling truck that I drove, all the recycling trucks, the exhaust was positioned a certain way that the minute you step out of the truck, it hits you. Now picture this, right? You're working, and then every time you step out of the truck, you're getting hit by the heat from the exhaust, and then the sun that was barreling down, and then the heat wave. So I was just getting pretty much hammered every day, just heat waves, heat from the exhaust. The sun was blaring hot. It was just one of the most brutal summers that I can ever imagine. And you know, close to the end of the summer, I think it was in September, I came home from work one day, and I ended up getting this job to a job agency. And I remember coming home that summer, that evening, and I was home, and then the phone rang. And when I answered the phone, it was a girl from the agency, and she was calling me. And she was a young girl. This girl was probably between the age of maybe 17, 19. And she called me, and she was struggling to say something on the phone. I couldn't make out what she was saying. She was all over the place and was saying a whole lot of stuff that didn't make sense. And at some point, as I listened, I started to really listen to what she was saying. At one point, she said something that really gave me an I thought, you know, I thought to figure out what she was saying. And she was saying, "Oh well, you're good, and they like you. You come into work and blah blah blah." But then at the end of the conversation, she said something that really struck me what she was trying to say, and she said, "Oh well, kind of like they don't want you to come back and whatever." And then at that point, I just after I figured out what she was trying to say, I made it easy for her, and I said, "Are they firing me?" And she was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." It's like it was a relief because she had probably never done this before, right? And when I said that, "Are they firing me?" She was just like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. They don't want you to come back." And at that point, after I hung up the phone, I was pissed. You know what I mean? And to think that I was there burning in the summer in the heat, just going through it every day, and then to just have the agency call me and tell me that they let me go, which they don't have to tell you. I mean, this is how companies get to screw people over by going to a job agency because that way they can use you and then discard you, right? So yeah, she after that I was really pissed off. I was really angry. And at that point, I decided that, you know what, screw jobs. I'm not going to work for anybody anymore because, when they're ready, they can just fire you without a moment's notice, right? And then you're up, then you're on your own, right? So that winter, I end up doing snowplow. And when I did it, I saved up some money from the snowplow. And then the following spring, I ended up, you know, my girlfriend father had a cube van, and I at that point decided, I'm going to go into moving. So, she would go on um, Kijiji when Kijiji was free, and she would post, and people were calling me for moves. And what I would do, I would take my stepfather's van, and I go out and do moving, and and it was going well. And what I realized was that sometimes he needed his van to use. So when I couldn't get the van to use, then after time I had to, say, either I push it back until the day that he can, or just had to say I can't do it. And then I realized I was losing a lot of moves. So I went to him and I said, "Listen, I need to buy my own van. I need to do my own moving because you're using your van, and sometimes I got work that comes in the same day." So he went out and he found a guy that was having a Q van that he was selling. I think it was 16-foot cube van, had a tailgate in the back, and it was perfect. And man, when I got that van, I bought that van. It was it was the best thing that ever happened. I remember I did a move all the way out in Nova Scotia because we live in Brampton, Ontario, and we live all the way out to Nova Scotia, probably maybe a day and a half, 2 days. It took to get up there, and it was the best thing that ever happened, man. It was an adventure because I'm a person, I don't like monotony. I like to feel like I'm moving, I'm doing different things. And the thing was that was I was doing every day. I was going somewhere different, and it was really really fun, man. I mean, for the first 2 or 3 years, it was like a dream. I mean, I could do whatever I want. It was my own company. Nobody could fire me. I could, work, get off early, and still had money in my pocket, and it was great. You know what I mean? It was really really fun times for me back then. And then I remember I said something, and I think after once I said it, like they say, you put stuff out to the universe, right? And I remember saying that, I don't want to be doing this when I'm 60. I mean, lifting heavy furniture is going up and downstairs. I can't do that. Can't do this forever, kind of thing. And I guess putting that out there was when everything, starting to go sideways. But, one of the things that how I helped contributed to that was I had a guy that I used to do delivery for, and every now and then he would throw me a bone. And I used to go up to him and say, Johnny, kind of asking him like, I have more work, man. Like, what's going on? And one thing he was saying to me over and over that at that point I didn't understand it. It was in hindsight when I look back at it, I realized exactly what he was saying. And he always said to me when I talked to him about getting more work, he was always saying, Bobby, get a bigger truck. And this was a guy who could help me if I need to get a bigger truck. But I let fear become part of my advisory board, and fear would literally talk me out of it. And one of the response was, well, you don't want to buy this bigger truck. And what if you don't get work because you're not getting enough work at that point, with the little truck that you do, and you take on a bigger truck, that's more responsibility. You don't want to have a big truck sitting on you and then you can't find money to do it, and all this bullshit that my mind was conjuring up that it literally scared me out of getting a bigger truck, and I stuck with the smaller truck. And eventually at some point my energy towards it starting to start to wane. And then what happened is eventually work starting to slow down, and it was a older truck, so stuff started to break on it. And when you're not earning enough money to make repairs, and it was becoming more and more regular, you know I at one point decided that I'm going to step back from it. And looking back on it, it was one of the worst decisions I ever made, because once I stepped back at it, I really literally went back to what I was doing. What I mean was, after I gave up the truck, then I went back to working jobs, and everything that happened before, it kept on happening. Went there, got fired from this job, get fired from this job, and it was literally, one of the worst decisions I ever made, right? And then fast forward a few years later, I started to go into brokering, working for a commercial company, and then going back to what had me started the whole moving, was to go back as a moving broker. So with the experience that I had from then to there, I end up transferring all that experience into now, where I can tell people a lot about moving, because I've been doing it for many many years. So when you let fear become part of your advisory board, and fear start to tell you what to do, you're it's never going to work. A lot of business fail because of fear. A lot of relationships fall apart because of fear. People don't want to get hurt. People don't want to get taken advantage of. And fear is a lie. What I mean? Like they say, fake evidence appearing real, and it's really what it is. It never happens. Sometimes you have to sit with yourself before you make a decision. Because if that decision is being fueled by fear, sit with that decision and see how it works. See if that is what you really need to be doing at this time. But don't make hasty decision because of fear, because fear is a lie. Fear is just there to ruin you, what I mean, or trying to keep you safe, so to speak. But you never, do not make most of your decision based on fear, because it will not end well. And for me, stepping away from my moving company, it didn't end well, and it was just a lesson for me back then to know that, you don't walk away from something that you create. You figure out how to make it work and make it work, because, I've never done business before. And so that was my first spin at going on doing a business. So, what I've learned from then is, sometimes, things are going well, not going well. You make tweaks, you make adjustments, sit with it, ask yourself if this is what you want to do. And then that's when you make your decision at that point. Okay, so that's what I want to see on this video, folks. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, any comments, leave it in the comment section below. And if you're looking for a quote, I leave my email address at the bottom there. You can send me a quote, like whatever you want. Just let me know if you want a quote. I can give you a quote right there on the phone, or I can give you a quote in 24 hours or less. Okay, until then, folks, take care of yourself, get started, and let's go.